Good morning, students. Today let us continue from the study of magnetic behavior of first row, that is 3D transition metal complexes. Okay. The magnetic moments of complex compounds of first row, that is 3D transition metals in common oxidation states, are given in this table. Okay. So, this table gives you calculated and observed magnetic moments of some first row transition metal octahedral complexes. Okay. Now, which are the elements, transition elements present over here? Titanium, vanadium. Okay, vanadium exists in two oxidation states, +4 and +3. Okay, and then chromium, even chromium exists in +3 and +2, but 3 plus is the most stable oxidation state. Okay. Even manganese is +2 stable oxidation state, but it also can exist in +3 also. Okay. Then iron Fe2 plus, cobalt 3 plus and 2 plus. Okay. Nickel 2 plus, copper 2 plus. Okay. And then this is the configuration. You can see here D1, D2, D3, D4. D4 you have low spin as well as high spin. Okay. And low spin you have T2G4 configuration and EG0 configuration. Alright. And high spin you have T2G3 and EG2. Okay. Similarly, D5 low spin, here T2G, here 5 0. Okay. So, mu s magnetic moment by spin only, these are the values, and spin and orbital contribution, these are the values. Okay. And mu observed, these are the values. Alright. Next line. The magnetic moments mu observed of complexes of first half of 3D series are close to their calculated spin only magnetic moments. Okay. That is mu s. That is mu observed is equal to mu s. Okay. The experimentally observed magnetic moments. Which are the experimentally observed magnetic moments? Mu observed of complexes of later half of 3D series. Okay. They are slightly higher than the calculated spin only values, that is mu s values, but it is as high as mu s plus L. That is very much clear from what? The tabular column. Okay. You have seen in the previous line the mu observed and mu s plus L values. Okay. They are one slightly higher than the calculated spin only values for later half 3D series. Okay. Next slide. Now, how do you correlate mu s and mu effective values? Now, close inspection of magnetic moment mu effective or mu observed values of 3D transition metal complexes, okay, that is previous table, okay, table reveals third important observation, that even for the metal ions where no orbital moment is expected, the observed values mu observed differ from the spin only values. Okay. These differences are small and they are not insignificant to neglect. You cannot neglect these one, even these differences. Okay, even though they are small values. Alright. Next slide. Thus, by mixing up of orbitals, the number of unpaired electrons is not changed. Okay. Unpaired electrons are not going to change. The mixing up of orbitals causes orbital contribution from the excited state, and mu observed differ from mu s. Okay. Mu effective is given by mu s into 1 minus alpha into lambda by delta. Okay. What is the mu s? Mu s is spin only magnetic moments. Okay. And alpha is a constant which depends on the spectroscopy ground state. Okay, it depends upon what? Spectroscopy ground state. Next is values of alpha for different configurations. You can see here values of alpha for different configurations. D5 configuration value of alpha is 0, spectroscopy ground state is yes, and value of alpha is 2 for D1, D4, D5 and D9. Okay, spectroscopy ground state is D, and for D2, D3, D7, D8 value of alpha is 3. Okay. Next line. Quenching of orbital angular moment. Now, what is quenching of orbital angular moment? The quenching of orbital moment is caused by the restrictions of orbital motion of the electrons by the influence of strong electric field, that is strong ligand fields. Okay. The ligand field in these complexes is greater than the spin orbit contribution, okay, or spin orbit interaction. And this can be explained on the basis of crystal field theory of bonding in transition metal complexes. You know that in transition metal complex there is a theory known as crystal field theory. You have already learnt in your second BSc classes, correct? So this is based on one crystal field theory. Alright. Next line. The free transition metal ion in which all the 5 d orbitals are degenerate. You know that all the 5 d orbitals are degenerate. In octahedral ligand field, these d orbitals split into 2 sets. But in octahedral field ligand, what happens? These d orbitals split into 2 states. Which are the 2 states? One is T2g, other one is Eg. Okay. Now, which are the T2g orbitals? dxy, dyz, dxz. Okay. Which are the Eg orbitals? ds squared minus y squared, dz squared. Okay. So this is called doubly degenerate and this is called triply degenerate. Thus, orbital contribution to magnetic moment will take place if the electron occupied in an orbital satisfy the following conditions. Okay. So, now which are the conditions? 2 or more degenerate orbitals. Okay. And then these orbitals must be unequally occupied. So, 2 or more, it should contain 2 or more degenerate orbitals and then these must be unequally occupied. And these orbitals can be interconverted by rotation around suitable axis. Okay. So, they can be interconverted by rotation about the suitable axis. Okay. Now, the energy difference between the two sets delta, so that is given by delta O. Delta O means in the octahedral field, delta T means in the tetrahedral field. Okay. Now, electron in dx squared minus y squared orbital will have 0 orbital angular momentum along z axis. Okay. If the electrons are present in dx squared minus y squared orbital, then angular momentum along z axis will be 0. Okay. Orbital angular momentum will be 0 and hence orbital contribution gets quenched. Okay. So, there is, since it is 0, it gets what? Quenched. Now, here is a tabular column which indicates what? The number of electrons, okay, number of electrons and then orbital contribution in octahedral complexes. Okay. So, there are 2 ways of distribution. One is high spin octahedral, other one is low spin. Okay. Now, this is the d orbital, 1 electron. Okay. So, it goes to T2g1. Okay. Electron will go to T2g orbital. Orbital contribution is there. Yes. Okay. Electronic configuration must be T2g1. Okay. So, orbital contribution is there, whether it is low spin or high spin. Okay. Similarly, D2, 2 electrons are present in d orbitals, T2g2. Okay. So, high spin there is one, yes, orbital contribution, even low spin there is orbital contribution. Okay. Yes. What about D3? D3, the 3 electrons are present in d orbital. Okay. So, T2g3, okay. So, high spin complex T2g3 contribution, that is configuration, and orbital contribution is not there. Okay. And even in low spin T2g3 and orbital contribution is not there. Okay. So, if you go through all the d orbitals, you can see here in some cases there is high spin, there is orbital contribution, some cases low spin there is orbital contribution, some cases there is no orbital contribution, and here also low spin there are some cases no orbital contribution. Okay. Now, another tabular column, orbital contribution in tetrahedral complexes. So, this is the orbital contribution in tetrahedral complexes. Okay. So, number of electrons D1, D2, D3, etc. Electronic configuration. In tetrahedral, you don't have T2G, okay, you have only E, okay, E1, E2, E2 and then T2, G is not there. Okay. So, E, the Eg orbital is named as E only. Okay. T2g orbital is named as T only. Okay. So, orbital contribution, here there is no orbital contribution, whereas here there is, yes. Okay. So, up to 9 the orbital contribution is given, okay, in this tabular column. Now next slide. Now what are the applications of magnetic moments data of 3D metal complexes, by which you can predict what geometry of complexes, okay. Magnetic moments data are used along with electronic spectra, okay, to gain information about oxidation state and stereochemistry of central metal ion in 3D metal complexes, okay. Now any difference between experimental observed value and theoretical or calculated value in a complex is indicative of change in nature of bonding originally assumed. Therefore, magnetic moment values are useful in characterizing coordination compounds and to assign what geometry, okay. Now example, let us consider example. The magnetic moment of deep blue colored cobalt 2 complexes are observed in the range 4.05 to 4.23 Bohr magneton, okay, at room temperature. These values are very close to spin only value, and which is the spin only value? S is equal to 3.87 Bohr magneton, okay. Now next is the diagram. So here is the diagram showing one the orbital distribution, okay, high spin, weak field, low spin, strong field, okay, delta O, okay, difference that is here, and delta O there is a large difference, okay. In low spin there is a large delta O value and high spin small. Tetrahedral field delta T, it is representing delta T. Octahedral field represents delta O, okay. So this is the electronic distribution. Now according to CFT, you can see here, according to CFT, that is two arrangement of electrons are possible for octahedral geometry and one for tetrahedral geometry, okay. The second arrangement, okay, second arrangement means B, okay, second arrangement, that is B, arrangement that is B is ruled out since it has only one spin free electron, okay, only one spin free electron. Therefore, either high spin, that is weak field octahedral or tetrahedral geometry is possible, okay. The magnetic moments of octahedral high spin complexes are observed between 4.3 to 5.2 Bohr magneton, okay. Hence high spin octahedral geometry A, high spin octahedral geometry is A, okay, figure A, is also not possible to assign, okay. Therefore, the geometry of cobalt 2 complexes whose magnetic moments are observed in the range of 4.05 to 4.23 Bohr magneton, therefore they must be what? Tetrahedral, alright. Now next line, the geometry of cobalt 2 complexes whose magnetic moments observed in the range of 4.05 to 4.23 must be tetrahedral. The dark blue color of cobalt complexes also indicate, okay, it's a tetrahedral geometry. This view is further supported by one electronic spectral data, alright. With this chapter is over. Please go through all these slides, okay. Any difficulty, you are most welcome, okay, to clarify your doubts, alright. When offline classes starts, I will clarify all of your doubts, okay. Thank you.